Hi, everybody. I'm Natalie Thomas, and this is Princess Power. And we have been painting this bed over a period of days. And you know that my theory is get paint on it. Okay, it's the first thing I do in the morning before I start anything else because I want it to dry. I haven't had breakfast. I did brush my teeth. That's about it. Okay, so here I am to get paint off of it today. So let's review what I've done already because this top part is primarily finished. It needs one more top coat just because I added a little bit more and I want to seal it. But then we're going to be taking some paint off in another part of the bed, which I realize I kind of have to get out of the way for you to be able to see that part of the bed. But the first thing I did was I did a base coat on the bed. Now, I decided I didn't like the color of that base coat, so I did a second base coat. Then I painted in color on this trim, this beautiful carved trim. Now, a lot of times people don't do color. They want everything one color and maybe they'll do a glaze later or dark wax to bring out some highlights. Now, this is blue. I put yellow in, and then I used a beautiful color called Riptide from Fairy Chalk Mother. This this color in here is the Riptide, and I see that where I was pointing you really couldn't see. So let me just turn the camera a little bit. There we go. So here is the blue. I used a color called Petal Pusher, and then over here I used a very light yellow called Cake Batter. And our gold is called Golden Ticket. Now you're not seeing the full gold there because when I was done putting on the color, it was very beautiful, but it looked like a carousel. It was very bright, and I'm thinking, that's maybe a little too eclectic for me. Okay, I can't think of a better word right now. So it was pretty, but I decided to dim all of that with a wash. So I thinned, and that was our last video. I thinned my base coat with water and put a very light coat of it on. And then I went back over when we weren't on camera, which is what I'm going to do on the sides today. And I took some of that off so the color would peek through. So let me turn the camera a little bit and I will get over here and I'm going to be working on the sides. My little Pomeranian is running around. So you see how this is more muted, and I will give you the example here. This is my gold area, and I do prefer the gold, but I didn't want it so screaming bright. So I'm just taking a wet cloth. I'm reactivating my paint because we use clay-based paints, DIY paints, and those are available over at princesspower.com under products. So here we go. We're just pulling a little bit off. Now, one thing I did that I didn't mention before I put this whitewash coat on that I'm now essentially taking off is that I sealed the paint, and I used something called Big Top. So you can see this is the whitewash color coming off, but I don't want all of my different layers of color. So I want my gold peeking through, and I may go in and touch up a little bit of gold. And I actually did. I forgot to tell you that here. I used a dry brush, which means I put the gold on the brush and then I took most of it off and rubbed it on to bring highlights. So now that I've taken off some of my wash here, let's start in this area. And again, we're trying to bring in highlights of the color peeking through without removing all of the color. Now, there are times that you will want, let's say, some of the bottom wood showing through. And that's done a lot in the farmhouse style, but we don't want a lot of that. You might want a little bit. So I've got a little bit going through here. I let everything dry overnight before I go in to do this wet distress. And in a lot of cases, when they are talking wet distress, they are talking about taking off some of the wood color. And that just wasn't quite what I wanted there. So here we go. We're just going to work at this for a while. And you notice I left the base coat in these sections. For some reason, that's not my favorite part of the bed, but it does bring some division and highlight there. So what I will have left to do after I go in and just remove some of this whitewash that I put on, I just didn't want so much color coming through. And I wanted basically some highlight going into the crevices. So when I'm done, I will go in and put in that dry brush of the gold. And then I will do another coat of top coat or two. And the last thing then will be, well, the highlight. And then I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and recover this. We'll go ahead and do a video on that. My husband has been out of the country renewing his visa, and that's something that he has to go do every year at the holidays, which is not my favorite thing. Tomorrow's Christmas and I spend it alone, and I'm not excited about that at all. But I got a message from him last night. I literally haven't been able to talk to him the whole time he's been gone, and it's actually been a week, and that's no fun. But I got a message from him that he has his visa. I have no clue when he's planning on coming back. We've just bought a one-way ticket because a lot of times there's trouble with the visa and it takes longer. I might do something with the feet of this bed. I haven't decided that, but maybe some of the gold down there. That's the fun thing about all of this, is that you can repaint something if you don't like it. You know, when I got all this gold on and all this beautiful strong color, I was not loving how bold it was. And so that's when I stepped in and started taking more steps to this process. And right now, because I don't have the gold on here, this is still looking a little bright, and a lot of that wash came off. It could be that maybe I added a little bit more water to this one than I did to in here. And there were some places in here actually where when I wet distressed, more of it came off than I wanted to. And I just went back in with a paintbrush and painted back over it. Now this color looks a little different because some of it has the top coat on and some of it doesn't. The top coat's always going to deepen your color just a little bit. And some of the blues, well, this is Riptide, which is really a green, but to me it reads blue. I don't know what it looks like to you. I just put a little more paint on in the places where too much came off. You can see the wood is showing through here. That's fine, but when I had some big blotchy places, and let's move the camera a little bit, I had some big blotchy places in here, and I just decided that I really didn't want to do that. But isn't that looking pretty? So I'm going to put a little more gold on. I'm going to do this other side. I'm going to put some gold in. I'm going to top it off, and with my top coat to seal it. And then we will come back and do another video on how to apply the fabric. I'm just going to use a stapler. It's going to be very simple. And thank you for watching. You can check us out at www.princesspower.com, and that's where you can find a lot of the beautiful DIY paint colors. We offer that because it is such a great paint. It is so easy to use and no VOCs. And anyway, thank you for watching.